Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ears to the East and Nemophila fans, especially. It is time to get excited. I think anyone who likes good music, it's time to be excited. I mean, we've been talking for a couple. Oh God, now my phone's making noises. Other people are excited as well.
Wow,
Be excited on your own.
professional YouTuber here.
Actually that's the special thanks release tour. That's what I'm getting notified about. Anyway, okay, look. Anyone who's into music is probably excited. We were saying that we were going to do an episode about Nemophila for a little while, because there's been so much progress with them, just in dribs and drabs. And then we got an announcement today of a brand new album coming out. I'm just having a look at the post here, and a tour off the back of it. The album's going to be called Apple of My Eye. It's due to come out 22nd of January. Excuse me, because I'm not the greatest with discography. I think this will be their fourth album, if I am correct. Yeah, this is big news, because this album, obviously, I mean, there's a lot of questions. Was this written entirely after Saki's departure? Are we going to get what type of music we're going to get? How is this going to continue the evolution of a band who basically their entire career has been a fascinating evolution? There's a lot to discuss here, but
there is. I mean, first and foremost, I think you tackled the major thing that I'm more interested in here. I mean, as great as Nemophila is, I think Saki's been, depending on what type of fan you are, has been either not such a big loss because you still love the band, or you love her, you miss her input a little bit. I'm really interested to see just how much of this album maybe still has her influence on this, or if it's completely devoid of Saki altogether. That would be really interesting, I think, when that comes out. I'm kind of
I love your
interested to see
choice
how
of
that.
wording there.
Yeah, I'm
Devoid,
yeah,
devoid of Saki.
devoid of Saki. So, yeah, that for me, that's a really sort of like, we know, obviously we know how long it takes to produce an album. Sometimes it can be months,
Yeah.
sometimes years in advance. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some form of Saki in here. How much of her maybe on this album, I don't know. Although they could go the complete opposite direction. Maybe bridges have been burnt since she left, and they've just completely done new stuff. Like, what would you prefer? Like, if you were like in a band and a band member's left and you were releasing a new album, what would you do in that situation?
I mean, that's a really good question. I mean, ultimately, I think you hit the nail on the head there, and that I think it's impossible to, unless they were very aware of Saki's departure long in advance, it's impossible to see a way in which Saki is not in some way has a mark on this album. In the same way as even when I mean, Love Bites, when they switched bases, they had a much longer lead in time, as far as I'm aware. But I mean, it was still clear that there was those dual writing roles. And it's interesting because I have to assume on some level that Saki's got some kind of input on this album, and maybe even it was the creation of this album could even have been something that was part of what led to the breakup. Maybe that was part of what got them to that decision that, hey, we want to go separate ways. And the interesting thing is, though, is that we've already had things like we've had the music video for G.O.D, which was very clearly, I mean, they were very comfortable with only having one guitar in that. I don't know whether that one, and it's possible that G.O.D could have been like the last song that was written for the album, and that was very specifically done that way. Because then you look at the album that came out afterwards, Beautiful Days, and there was two guitars on that, and you see Mayu's playing the guitar in the video. So, I mean, there's any number of ways that could unfold. To be honest, though, I mean, if it was a choice thing, like you say, I mean, you obviously, you're always going to want a clean sweep. You're obviously going to want to, if someone's left the group, you're not going to want that. I mean, if anything, the quicker you can settle, this is our new identity, the better. Which again is why I suspect God. I don't know, but God, I wouldn't be surprised if that was like the last song they wrote, and that was written like right after it was clear she was going to leave, and they were like, we just need to cement the first single to be us. I mean, a lot of that is just sort of, just me guessing, but it is interesting because they're going to want to make that clean sweep, but I still can't see how this album is not going to be in some way connected to Saki.
Yeah, I'm more interested as well. Like you said, you mentioned the tour as well with the new tour announcement.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know who fills in for Saki's parts, if it's just an unknown guitarist, if it's a backing track or whatever. Like that's something that's going to interest me as well, to go back to their older songs, which obviously has two guitarists, and quite prominently, by the way. There's no hiding around that, no getting around that, I feel. That would be interesting to me as well. Like, are they going to bring in another guitarist and maybe use
But
another guitarist moving forward?
do you think it might be a case of Mayu is playing the guitar, and then it's just the case of she's playing enough of the guitar to cover like the rhythm bits. I mean, I don't know how good she is, but obviously she's going to put most of her effort into singing. Then again, there are some songs where very clearly, she's singing in a way that is the sort of singing that you can only do when you're not having to play an instrument. So I want, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they have a guest guitarist, but then again, I also would be more interested to see them just play as the four of them and rearrange their songs to match, because there's no reason why they can't. I think G.O.D, if anything, obviously G.O.D was written to be that way. I mean, that's where it looks, but there's no reason why this band does not have the talent to rework their songs into a form that would work as a four-piece,
Oh yeah, no, definitely. They totally got the ability to do that. I think that's a really good. I think that's a really good debate in general, whether or not they continue to be, like I said, a four-piece band. Whether or not they.
Point. I'm going to reach and get my water, but I've realized it's just kind of out of reach. So I'm going to be like seeing if I can do this without pulling.
This is exactly why you put pants on before we recorded.
We're English, Neon. You call them trousers. I never have pants on. Anyway.
All the horrors I have seen people watching this on YouTube.
For two people who've only ever communicated by camera, and yeah, that is true. It is amazing that he knows so much about my underwear. Anyway, he's got that subscription service to my other channel. Anyways.
So yeah, I totally think they've got the ability to work it as a four-piece. I haven't seen many of their shows, but believe it or not, as a four-piece at the minute, so I can't really comment on it. But I'm looking forward to seeing how they do with their tour. Looking forward how they kind of tackle that. Whether or not they bring in, like I said, a guest guitarist. I imagine it will just be some dude that's shoved into the corner of the stage with like no lights on him or anything like that in the shadows.
They have one of those silhouette guitarists who stands at the back. Yeah. All right, so just to give a little idea for anyone who's wondering. So the tour information, and by the way, I am just reading this off the poster. So if anyone knows more details, please jump in. But it literally says here, apple of my eye, release tour. And it's running obviously next year from sorry, I was going to say November, from February 9th through until April 27th. These are obviously all Japan venues, but we're looking at venues everywhere. We've got like so it's Tokyo, Nagoya, Kyoto, can't read that, Kizawa, maybe Kizawa, Nagano, I mean Hiroshima, they're going up to Hokkaido, Chiba. They are literally going to every corner of Japan. This is one of the most comprehensive and just awesome looking Japan tours I've ever seen. They are really nailing it. Now, I know that's not much love for anyone who's not in Japan, but I mean, if you are coming to visit Japan anytime in February, March, April, you got a good chance to do some fun tourism, see some awesome places, and see Nemophila touring as a four-piece. So this, I think, if you are planning to come to Japan, this is an absolute must in that time period.
For sure. Like I don't mind that as well. Like unlike other bands, bandmate.
Here we go. Don't hide it, my man. Don't hide it. Dive in. Show that anger.
Unlike other bands that aren't touring in Europe at the minute, like I said, I'll let you guys figure out which ones.
Don't act like it's a mystery. Don't act like you're being all coy and you're being restrained about it after what you just did. It's like, well, yeah, I wouldn't say it. It's like,
me. Like I said, it's probably their first tour as a four-piece. I don't mind them staying in Japan for that one. I think that's probably the right move. For a couple of reasons. They'll be able to gauge how they perform, how the crowds like it as well. Move forwards and just kind of get an overall reaction of maybe the new album, the four-piece, and I feel like that's a really solid move to perform.
Do you suspect though, and this is what I suspect, I mean, that tour is very well timed, that it means that they immediately become free for the summer? Or in other words, do you think this is going to be followed up with some international festival appearances, that kind of thing?
I imagine so. The timing, like you just said, the timing's way too on the nose there. It would not surprise me at all to see them probably. I'm gonna call it and say possibly in Europe, or like the likes of maybe like Download or something like that, and maybe some European rock festivals. It's always good when bands sort of don't have that summer tour, because like you said, that's when all the festivals kick off. So yeah, I could see that happening. I don't believe the the dates sort of line up there.
I mean, the funny thing is that I mean, I think with a band like this, when they are as popular as they are, and I've mentioned this before, like I've been on the train here, and I know this is different in different countries, but in case you don't know, when you're on the trains here, you get like the little video screens, and sometimes they'll show you what the station is and things like that. But a lot of the time, they'll be the ones just showing adverts. I think Nemophila is the only band I've ever seen a video advert for on the train. Whereas, like, hey, Nemophila touring, come to the venue, blah, 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 and showing their tour information. I have never seen that on a train advert before. I mean, I've seen like sort of banner train adverts, like the printed ones, but an actual video one, that's the first time I've ever seen it. And so, you know, it's like obviously there is. I mean, you could say that's just they got a lot of money behind them, but I think it's also there's a genuine support for Nemophila. You know, they are quite a beloved band. We talk sometimes about how there's like bands like I mean, Bandmate, obviously, to bring up that example of the band who you were not talking about. There are some bands who we kind of all recognize that they're massive overseas, but maybe they're not as popular in Japan as they are overseas. I think Nemophila is actually one of those few examples where their popularity domestically does match anything they have internationally. They are very popular in Japan as well as overseas. So yeah, I think just with this sort of tour, it makes sense. Obviously, as well with like apparently a couple of them have got kids now. Obviously, I know about Mayu, but a couple of them have kids. So I think this also allows them to stay close to their children. And if several of them have kids as well, then they can probably bring their kids on some of the tour and share some of the.
How awesome would that be? Just to see your mom just on stage in front of like 40,000 people, just absolutely shredding it, like insane. Coolest moms ever.
I think that's another thing, though. Part of what the Nemophila appeal in Japan is that, you know, I mean, there's a lot of, okay, so there's a lot of girls rock bands. And, you know, I mean, as I say, obviously we know they're going to appeal to guys, but they also appeal to women as well. But I think there's, we're saying this with obviously the band who I work with, Caramel Candid. We were saying that it's like, the thing is it's nice to create a girls rock band that is actually for women who write songs that a lot of the time focus on, you know, women's things as well. And I think like Nemophila, I think they probably have a lot of across the board appeal as well, because of the fact that, you know, being mothers, there's going to be a lot of people who relate to that. You know, there's going to be a lot of women in Japan who see that, and it's nice. It's like, yeah, there you go. They're living that life, and they're, you know, responsible, caring parents, and also kick-ass rock stars.
Yeah. I mean, what we said before we recorded this as well, like, the album got announced, and my first reaction was, wow, that's like really close. That's closer than I thought that was gonna be with the announcement. So I hope the lessons I've been learning, I'm really hoping we don't have another Bandmate and like sort of scenario. And who else was it that like half the album was ruined before we listened to it? But I hope.
Are we going to talk about the Trident one?
That the Trident one as well, yeah. Like I really hope now the album's been announced. Just maybe release two songs. You've got a couple of months now. Release one in December, one in January. That's all we need. No more than that. We only need two songs. Tease the album, bring the album out. I'll be happy with that.
Do you know what though? They've already had those two songs come out, which I'm assuming are both from the album. And
probably.
I mean, there's probably going to be a third single based on the timescale. I think that there is this aspect, though, that, I mean, we've talked about this. Obviously, we talked about it in the light of, you know, the Bandmate one where, yeah, there was an obscene amount of leaked stuff before the album came out. And then, obviously, Trident, where the question was more like, should you even consider that to be a problem, considering that all but two of the tracks were technically speaking on mini albums they released before? It's like, how do you even address that kind of thing? There's a lot of different ways of looking at it. But for me, all I really care about is when we eventually get the album. Obviously, yeah, I don't want it all to be leaked in advance. I love that first listen. But when we get the album, is it a continuation of the Nemophila journey? And the Nemophila journey, I mean, I don't think anyone is surprised. I think a lot of people know that when Nemophila first arrived years ago, I was a bit 50-50 on them. I wasn't sure. I was like, there's a lot of musical talent, but I was like, the writing just didn't feel like it was there. And then they've just come on in leaps and bounds. I mean, yeah. I don't know few bands who've come on as far and as quickly as they have.
I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I feel like it took them a while to kind of like establish their kind of core sound of what they were kind of going for. I think I'm in probably the more common group where they kind of won my heart a long time ago, just doing the videos on YouTube with the covers. Because at that time of the dark times, the times of COVID, having like a band act as active as they were, and I feel like that's where they really shot up on popularity. They did what other bands weren't doing at that time. Um,
Well,
through,
but other bands were just to just
yeah.
cover that. But I mean, yeah, there wasn't as many as there should have been, and the ones who did certainly made massive gains by just being direct and sort of like just
Yeah,
linking up with their audience like that.
Nemo were there like pretty much day one doing it straight away. And I feel like other bands kind of clicked on either like halfway through the pandemic or like towards the end. But yeah, Nemo were just there and they really thrived throughout that whole thing.
Well,
Probably,
it's probably worth pointing out, and so sorry, just to
yeah, yeah.
jump in and say, I mean, I really loved what they were doing, as
Mm.
in I loved the fact they were doing that. But it's just when they first kicked off, the problem is that none of those covers, and I know this is not a popular opinion, but none of those covers really appealed to me because I felt like they just did the songs. It felt like a band who were not used to being a band together. I know they're all from other projects, but they felt like a band who hadn't worked together because all the covers just like let's just do it as a direct rock version. It's like it didn't feel like they really left their imprint on anything other than just the sound of their singing voices and such like. But then their first couple of singles I felt that way as well. It was like I felt a little bit like, oh, they're kind of doing stuff that sounds like other bands. And
Mm.
but then Seize the Fate, there was this real feeling of like, wait, this stuff like here on N10 and stuff like that. It's like that doesn't sound like anyone else. This really feels like it's got an identity, and just more and more and more their singles got more and more
Yeah.
unique. So
I,
I this is why I'm so excited for what they're going to do next.
mm. Yeah, I'm kind of nervous about what they're going to do next. I'm gonna be 100% honest. And again, I know I mentioned it before, but I'm going to repeat it just because I feel like she's her loss could be felt. It might not even be felt at all. We don't know until the album drops. But I feel like Saki was such a huge part of it, and I really love her sound. What really stands out to me is where's like I'm glad Nemophila are now ramping up things again and things are happening for them because let's be honest, Saki since she's doing her solo stuff, but absolutely slaying it. By the way, like some of her solo stuff on music videos have been slapping so hard. Um, so like seeing what she's kind of doing by herself, I'm kind of looking at that going, I hope Nemophila like they don't miss that. I hope they don't miss her input and her
I mean,
creativity.
the difficulty there is, I haven't seen like any of Saki's music videos, but I've heard a couple of the songs. Now, I must admit, for someone who naturally wouldn't veer towards too much guitar constantly and loads of solos, I was genuinely quite impressed. Like, wow, some of this is really good.
Yeah,
But
it's really hard when you do an instrumental. I think it, like when you go into it, like if you can be a guitarist and make a no singing song as rhythmic and make that guitar sing like it would do like a singer and have it as rhythmic and melodic as she can. I think that's a real ability that very few people can do.
I think it is quite a rare quality, but I mean, she definitely did. But then again, it also had the feeling, if I dare say, the whole project, Saki's project, had the feeling, and I know she's done other things while she was still with Nemophila, but it really had the feeling of hit the ground running, or in other words, like she's had one foot out the door for a while. It didn't
Mm.
feel like, oh, well, what am I gonna do now? I guess I'll release an album. It was like, no, I was already doing this. It's felt very much like that. But then again, I think the same thing might be true of Nemophila in that, let's be honest, it seems like Nemophila maybe for a while haven't been leaning into the Saki side of their, the toolkit that they had. Maybe like the Saki influence wasn't as big because maybe that was something that was diminishing over time.
Maybe.
Um,
It gives a chance for other girls to step up now, doesn't it? Like, yeah, like now you're really sort of looking at Mayu, you're looking at like Camu and stuff like that. I mean, maybe might not get as much love in the background, but now it with Saki missing a little bit. It's time for I feel like other girls to kind of step up and show their personalities a little bit more rather than their musical abilities. Kind of like really make
I,
make
I
themselves
don't
the
know
face of
how
the band.
I don't know how widespread known it is, but my Tamu's a bit of a legend already in the Japanese music scene. I don't know if that's a fairly well known fact, but
Yeah.
she's worked on a lot of projects, and she's very highly respected
Mm.
even before Nemophila, I think. Yeah, she's certainly been on a lot of things, and so I think she's got a huge amount of respect. But like you say, that respect might not have been felt as much in Nemophila, and so maybe the light's going to be a little bit more on her and the others. But I mean, the main thing is are they going to? And I've said this before: when you get a two guitarist band, you take over one of the guitarists, it could either thin out the sound or it could just give the remaining guitarist more room. So that's what we got to see. Is she going to use this room, and is she going to like just have more freedom to play? And that's what I'm really excited for, because I think she is. I think she's going to fill out that space with one guitar rather than just relying on two.
Yeah, like the ability, like I said, the ability is there, the sounds there. I'm really interested. I'm excited. It's such a weird thing to be excited about, because you come into this and you're like, oh, but Saki's left. But then at the same time, I'm kind of like, but I want to know what they do now. Like, I'm excited to hear how they push through this and move forward. So for me personally, there's an excitement there that maybe wouldn't be there if like maybe Saki was still here, because I'm interested. I want to know where they go with this. I want to know kind of what they sound with. I want to know how they fill that gap. If they fill that gap, do they change their core sound a little bit? Do they not? Does the band dynamics change? There's so many questions I have leading into this one, that gets me genuinely giddy. And like,
What impression have you
oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
given you any thought or feeling?
Um, I haven't really thought about it too much, to be fair. Um, Nemophila has been one of those, but obviously we do Nemophila a lot. I've done Nemophila a lot on the channel. Um, so it's hard to kind of like quantify what I want from them personally. I when I listen to
But I
them, when I
mean,
listen to the new
yeah.
song, I don't know yet. It's hard. It's like you I don't know, honestly. Like I haven't. I need to listen to them way more to like to be like, okay, so that's what you're trying to do at the minute. And for me, half the mystery is kind of the appeal a little bit for me. I want to see it. I probably won't listen to the pre-release. If they release more songs, I probably won't listen to this one, because I wholeheartedly want to come into this album and just sit down with it and listen to it. One of the reasons why I love the Trident album so much as well, I was very happy to be one of the few that didn't listen to all the EPs. Like, I had like so many people in my Discord, like, we listened to the whole thing, and I'm like, well, I haven't, so I'm going to enjoy this. Um,
Can I just say, I was on the Trident Discord the other day, the community Discord, and they've got like a little section for reaction videos. And I thought I'm going to go through. I'm going to find out when Neon first reacted to Trident. And I think you had a video from maybe 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, when you were reacting to Signal. And Signal, ironically, is one of the songs that's on this album. So I wonder if you can remember
Jesus Christ!
I know, right?
Fucking hell.
I think that's your oldest reaction to Trident. So you've heard some of it at least.
Some of it at least. Jesus Christ, 4 years ago.
Oh god. It was
Damn.
3 or 4. It was something like that. It was some ungodly amount of time. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Wow,
So
I'm actually kind of shocked by that. Jesus. Um, so yeah, I'm going to take the exact same approach with Nemophila here, and just kind of like try not to listen to too much. I kind of want to experience this album just in its entirety. Kind of get a feel for
I
it straight
mean,
off the bat.
it was interesting because like for me, like G.O.D, like I mentioned, that felt very much like a song that could have had Saki on, but it felt more like, well, look, we're going to do the sorts of songs that maybe had Saki on before, but we're going to show you how we can do them as a four-piece. And that was one of the things that really impressed me, is because it felt very much like Nemophila of old. Yeah, I mean that in a good way. But it sounded very much like them going back to their core sound, but it did feel, and this is my opinion, others might not agree, it felt much more light on its feet and nimble and punchy. And it was like, it felt like it was like sort of really sort of bouncing around, throwing like good hard punches rather than just sort of lumbering with like lots of loudness for the sake of it. And so for me, it was much more impactfully heavy than a lot of their other heavier songs before. And then obviously with the most recent song, Beautiful Days, I think the nearest comparison with that probably would be something that tonally would be Odyssey. It was very similar to Odyssey in that sort of big, thick, anthemic tone. And ironically, I think Odyssey was one of those songs that maybe, I don't know, but if I was taking a guess, I'd imagine Odyssey would have probably been one of those songs where like maybe Saki would have been like, oh, this is not for me. That never felt like a Saki song. I don't know. I'm probably going to find out she wrote that now, but yeah, it always felt like, nah, that's not a Saki song. That's just like a song that's just I got to find out who wrote that now because maybe I'm full of shit. Actually, no, it was written by someone else. Actually, wasn't it? I think. But anyway, yeah. So like again, it's like one of those. Beautiful Days feels like one of those big, thick, creamy songs that maybe would not have been appealing too far back in their career, maybe, but to a lot of people. But it definitely feels like a song that they can more lean into now. Because again, you got in the video, you got Mayu playing the guitar, and she's obviously just able to like hit those power chords and everything for that. And that's no, it's just I thought it was great. I really did.
Again, this is what I was talking about before. Like the band dynamic is definitely going to change. I feel like their core sound's probably going to change or shift slightly. Might not change like dramatically because they're still, they're still the same girls with the same style. But the dynamics of the band's definitely going to change. And again, that's what makes me kind of excited for this one. Like really excited for this album actually. Is like the mystery of that. I want to know how they step up, how they change, like what the girls like, who really in the band kind of takes like the bull by the horns of this one and kind of like really steps up and be like, right, this is me filling that void a little bit, or that might not even happen. Maybe all the girls step up and it doesn't feel like that. I honestly
very well that some people don't respond well to change. Okay. Change is not good for all people. There's going to be some people who are just not going to like this because they're going to be very upset about change. What do you mean only one person playing the guitar? Change.
Yeah, I mean,
no, they'll have that silhouette man at the back of the stage. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think I personally think that's the way they'll tackle it. They'll do the old songs like they normally do. They'll just have some silhouetted dude in the background who, you have to squint real hard and be like, is that someone playing guitar about that? But and I'll be interested to see how they tackle the new songs. I think if we get the silhouetted guy playing some bits. Oh, you're still there. That is. Oh, there we go. But we got dodgy internet.
Yeah, I got you back. Yep.
You got me back.
Yeah.
I want you back. But
I don't know what that was.
Michael Jackson, man, Jesus Christ, Jackson 5. I want you back. Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just used to it being like in a tune. Anyway, carry on.
Oh. How do I end this call? But yeah, I think it'll be really interesting as well for the tour. Kind of, well, to be fair, it won't even be a mystery at that point because possibly the album might even be out, so we'll know how they tackle the album and the shows from that point on.
Album's out 22nd of January, so yeah, it will predate the tour by like 2 weeks. Then again, I mean, I don't know, they might have live shows before that. It's not like, bands have non-tour shows. I mean, so it's not like they might not do something. But I'm interested because obviously the tour is going to be very intensive. So seeing how they deal with the tour is going to be very interesting. Because like you say, they're going to have to, settle on some sort of strategy, some sort of theory for how they're going to do that. I will actually say, just on a slight tangent, I was really intrigued that like Anna, the rather insane Japanese pop singer, she's just announced like a sort of a 4-date tour, and her support artist at every single gig is wildly different. Like she's got heavy metal at one gig, she's got like the cute pop duet Puffy at another one, and like she's got TK from Ling to Segura, who obviously wrote some of the songs at another one. It's like so her entire tour has just like every single opening act is like wildly different, and that's what Nemophila should do. They should like do one show where they turn up and like AKB opens for them.
AKB.
And then like Creepy Nuts at the next one, and then just like the most intense like death and doesn't even hold a tune the next one. Think of the most horrifying thing you can think of. Yeah, why not? And then
Japan cyber dancers need to open for them.
Can we have less of them opening up as a general? I think the internet's got enough of that on it already.
That's the appeal, surely. If you've never seen them, go and search them. Thank me later.
And then of course, tour finale. Nemophila will be opened for by Snoop Dogg, because Snoop Dogg has to appear everywhere.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Snoop Dogg will do any job for money. Pay him enough, and he'll turn up anywhere.
I'm just waiting for like Snoop to pop in now and go, did somebody say just eat? He does everything now.
If we had enough money, we could pay Snoop Dogg to just come on this show and like no context, just have him like sit in the corner and smoke something whilst we talk about Japanese music. Yeah. That's the sort of that's rich people money when you can do that. But
I know.
I think like with Nemophila doing this big tour though, I think they're all going to be one-man shows as far as I'm aware. And yeah, by the way, I just did see at the top of the poster, I said at the beginning of the video, I was like, I think this is their fourth album. It's like, yeah, at the top of the poster it actually says fourth album, so it's written right there. But yeah, I think it's going to be one of those kind of if you're here, you've really got to see it kind of things. I mean, I'm probably not going to have the money to see it, but if I do get the chance, then I will definitely see it. And I think a lot of people are going to go to this. I think the album's going to be successful, and I think it's going to cement the longevity of Nemophila, despite obviously the recent band member change.
For sure. I think there's a lot changing, but a lot's kind of going on. Let us know in the comments what you're thinking.
Well, hello everyone. It's me, Howard, and you can see that I'm currently in the Zoom window where Neon left me. This was his Zoom chat, and somehow, he just left. Somehow, I'm able to maintain my presence in the Zoom chat without the person who hosts it. I don't pay for Zoom, but as you can see, the countdown timer is there. We still had time on the clock, so maybe I should have a little chat with you. And maybe while I'm doing that, see if I can. I've got to try not to show you stuff that's on my Discord. But there we go. There's the Easterday's conversation. Where did you go? I'm going to say to him. I know he had an important call after this video. I didn't know he had it during this video, but yeah, he totally decided to leave us in the lurch there. Anyway, look, while we're waiting for him to reply to this message, I'm just going to say that I personally, I'm really excited. As he said, get in the comments, tell us what you think. Because maybe you know more about this than we do. We are fans of Nemophila, but I think it's one of those bands who we're both really fans of. I've become a fan. I definitely wasn't a fan at the beginning, but I didn't hate them, but I was very much on the fence, and I became a fan over time. I think like Neon is much more of a fan of theirs. At first, at least. But I think now, yeah, anyway, now we're both fans, but I think there's like proper diehard Nemophila fans out there who really love them, who I'm sure can give us more information. Oh, he's typing an excuse. Let's see what his excuse is. Oh, shit, the window's gone away. It's really hard to record screen capture. We've been having a lot of these fantastic videos recently where everything goes wrong. We had the Trident one the other day where we got cut off. Oh, he stopped typing. Oh, no, he's typing again. Let's see what he says. All right, this is your chance to get really in behind the scenes and see what it's like working on Ears to the East as we see what Neon types. But anyway, get in the comments, tell us what you think, and hopefully, either if you're a big fan or even if you're just a casual fan, it's really interesting to know what people are going to be excited for moving forwards with this album. You know, what people expect as well. I mean, because again, as we said, there's here we go. The cat jumped on my PC. Age, I think it means and shut down the computer. No problem. I am recording this Discord chat for the end of the video. Winky face. I wonder if he believes me. So anyway, get in the comments. Tell us what you think. Yeah, I'm just kind of intrigued. Is it going to be a case of the more things change, the more they say the same? You know, Nemophila trying to cement their sound by, keeping their fans pleased that, the world hasn't ended? Or is it going to be a case of something, totally different? What do you want? Do you want more of the same? Do you think that just simply having 4 members is enough of a change? You think it's just going to inherently change their sound in an interesting way, or do you want them to lean into it somehow? I'm certainly looking forward to hearing them leaning into that, because you don't need 2 guitarists to be heavy. And Mayu's picking up that guitar, so if they do want to be heavy, they can. Anyway, I think he's run out of excuses. Yeah, he's run out of excuses. So I'm going to stop recording this, and I'm going to go back about my day. So you all take care. I've got to do the sign out alone. Wait, let me see if I can call him and get. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call him. How do I get out? Usually I wait for this to time out to get out of the call. How do I get out of the call without? It's like literally like watching your grandpa. No, there we go. There's a button there. Let me out. There we go. Oh no, I don't want to sign in. I don't want you to do anything. Go away, Zoom. All right. Start video call. Oh wait, I don't think I'm going to be able to hear anything. This is quality entertainment, folks. This is quality entertainment. I got to resize the Discord window. Oh no, it's I just realised now you can't see. Everything has gone to hell, people. Quality entertainment. No one is answering my call. In fact, it's pretty sure it's not even ringing. Oh wait, no, it's just me. Right. On my own, no working camera. Well, I guess that's as good a place as any to leave it. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and remember, I am doing the sign out. Just imagine I'm doing it. All right, I'll do it with the mouse. Remember to keep your ears. That's an E. To the east. This way. Although the stop button's actually over here. But to the east. Off the end of the screen. Bye. Neon. What caused you to disappear?
The cat wanted to get involved, so Jed just opened the door quickly. The cat slipped in and it's jumped on the computer, and Howard went bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.